Hey, how you doing? I saw this little movie yesterday about a guy who dresses like a bat. You probably never heard of it. Actually, it's probably the biggest movie this summer, which is the reason why I'm coming out to do a review of it. I usually don't like to do this because, you need some time to distance yourself, to actually, think about it and formulate what you want to say. And it's so much more enjoyable to actually talk to a real person. If I was actually talking to you right now, but I'm just sitting here talking to a camera, so I have to, just think what are the main things I want to talk about. But anyway, let's move on. The only thing that's I kind of gotta address, I think, is just that I think we've all heard the horrible, horrible news about the people who were shot in the theater in Colorado. I couldn't help but keep thinking about that while I was watching the movie. There's many scenes that involve gunfire, and just couldn't help but be reminded of it. So, just want to say it's a horrible, horrible thing that those people were just trying to watch a movie, and then So my sympathies go out to the families and loved ones. Um, and on that note, I say go see the movie. It's very good, but just be safe. So let's begin. I'm going to be spoiler free. I don't want to, ruin any surprises or anything. So, yeah, it's best. The least you know about this movie, the better. I even think that knew a little too much because I read the whole Nightfall story arc. Um, but yeah, let's move on. So, the movie was very good in a nutshell. Very good. What made it good? Um, Bane, first of all. I think he's one of the greatest villains I've seen in a long time. I think he's even better than the Joker in the second movie. That's just me. I know that's saying a lot, and I'm sure most people like the Joker better, but that's cool. Um, but I think the reason I like Bane better was because I've seen the Joker done before, and I've seen him done well, and Bane was, well, Batman and Robin, that was pretty bad. Bane was like a fresh approach. I didn't really know a lot about him before I heard the news that he was going to be the new villain, and that's when I sought out the comics with the Nightfall story arc, and I read up and everything. Like thinking to myself, there's got to be more to this Bane guy than I thought before when I saw Batman and Robin. But yeah, he's a good villain. What makes him good? Good villains got to have an objective, a diabolical plot, which he definitely has. And beyond that, there's just a part you can't explain, like something that just a presence, like he's just badass. Like you just see his eyes, and like all he needs to do is, and you're like, whoa, shit's gonna happen. So I liked his voice. I didn't like the effect they put on the voice, though. I thought that was a little bizarre. Catwoman was pretty good. At first, I thought, Anne Hathaway, really? She's in everything nowadays, and wasn't really feeling it until I saw the movie. She did a really good job, and I think she's a great Catwoman. Maybe even the best, one of the best for sure. The music was excellent. Um, a big part of what makes the movie so captivating is the music. Like without it, it wouldn't be as exciting as it is. Although there are some scenes that do not have music, which is done very well. If you remember, in Dark Knight when Batman is confronting the Joker out on the street, and there's just no music, and it's very effective. There is a scene similar like that in here. I don't think it's a spoiler to say Batman is going to fight Bane, but there's a scene where it happens, and there is no music, and it is very, very effective. Um, the plot. I like the plot better in this movie than the last two. I think because um, the stakes were higher. That made it more interesting. Batman's in serious trouble. Gotham City is going to absolute hell, and it's very dark and depressing. But that's what this chapter is supposed to be. Every superhero has that chapter where they lose their power, or they're momentarily defeated, like Superman 2 and Spider-Man 2, and even Rocky 3, with Mr. T. A new opponent comes along who's hungrier and meaner than the rest, and puts the hero out, and it's all about the fall and rise. Um, Comic relief. There was some funny parts despite all the darkness. The scene that sticks out to me that I thought was funny, which isn't a spoiler really because it's in the trailer. I think everybody knows a football field gets destroyed, and the football player is running from the destruction, and you could take it two ways. One, he's running to get away, and then the other way is he's playing football still. He doesn't know what's happening, and then he turns around like what? And hard to believe if the ground is shaking and everything that he wouldn't notice. But I just thought that was a funny little moment. Although a big moment in the film, though, of course. I think the greatest thing I can say about the movie is that it didn't feel like 2 hours and 45 minutes. I mean, that's a long time. There's very few movies that deserve to be that long. I think it was very slow in the beginning, though. But as it picked up, I didn't really notice the span of time. So that's a job well done, I have to say. Is there anything I didn't like? Well, most of the things that I have to say that are negative are more like details, and if I talk about them, I have to actually explain, certain plot points, and I don't want to give anything away. But I can vaguely say that there were some suspension of disbelief moments that you could take it for what it is, but for a series that's trying to be realistic, it's not as excusable. There's certain liberties also that Nolan takes with the established Batman lore, things that differ, and mostly with one particular character who I will not reveal, and I imagine nobody's going to have a problem with it, but I wonder because in the first Tim Burton movie, a lot of people had a problem that the Joker was the killer of Batman's parents. And I loved that. I thought that was great because then, Batman is going after the Joker, but is it revenge? Is it justice? I thought that worked out awesome. And, the thing is, this isn't the comics. This is a movie, and it should be different. They should change things. All that matters is if it's done well. And in this movie, a lot was done well, but there were some things that were just okay. But next topic. One thing I really didn't like was this character Miranda, and I just thought that if I could just axe one character, one part of the story, I would just take her part just out of it because, I mean, that's just me, but I just think that there was already enough going on as it is, and I think she overcomplicated things, and, without giving anything away, I just thought her part in the film was a little unnecessary. I think I said already the beginning was a little slow. That's because there's a lot of new characters that have to be introduced. It just took a little while to pick up, to get started. Yeah, that's about all I can say. It was overall very good, and I think now I'm thinking about like what's next for Batman. I don't know, but I think this was a really fitting closure to the Nolan trilogy. I think that it's time to move on, and I'm really looking forward to seeing a new take on Batman, see something different. I mean, the Nolan movies, they're their own distinct style for sure. They're like crime dramas, but with Batman, as the central part. They're grounded in reality, which is fine, but I really miss the art style of the Tim Burton movies, where you just feel like, just like you're swept away into this dark and surreal comic book world. The Nolan movies are also very dialogue heavy, and I personally prefer my movies a little more on the visual side, like a picture's worth 1,000 words. Just seeing something through juxtaposition and montage of images, and then that generates a response in your mind rather than hearing a character explaining everything to you through words. But to be honest, I don't think there's ever been a perfect Batman movie yet. There's been many great ones, but I think for the next one, I know there a lot of people are talking about Justice League as a possibility. I don't know if they're going to reboot Batman first on its own or what they're going to do, but I think for the next movie, they should take all the best elements of all the Batman films and just put them together into something brand new. I'm ready for something different, so bring it on.